And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So we're going to start off with Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake from Disney. And I mean, everyone knows what Lilo and Stitch is about. It's just a remake of the classic that came out in what was it, like 2001 or 2002, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
A movie that we both grew up on. Stitch is iconic. And then they also, like, after the movie they had like that show on Disney Channel. I remember growing up watching that. This is a Disney movie, the original one, that I feel like gets slept on a lot. It gets all the princess movies and like Lion King and some Pixar movies like Toy Story and stuff, I feel like overshadow it. But I always like loved Lilo and Stitch. So I know me and you were both very, very excited when we heard this was coming out. We saw the trailer, like Stitch CGI looked great. Lilo was just absolutely adorable. And I think we both knew that this was just going to be a super good, like feel good, heartwarming movie. Um, and yeah, I mean, Disney's definitely been hit or miss with some of the live actions. I would say probably our personal favorite is what, like Aladdin. Little Mermaid was really good last year or 2 years ago, whenever that came out. Um, but then you got some misses. Like I thought the first Lion King was kind of a miss. And yeah, a couple of their others have just been a little iffy.
Snow
Dumbo.
White's bombed.
Snow White
So
bombed, Dumbo. So you're not always guaranteed a good movie with these remakes, but I will say off the top, um, I definitely had a good fun time with this. It was very nostalgic. A lot of scenes were like shot for shot, line for line, um, from the original, and it is a super, super sweet movie, heartfelt. And Stitch is absolutely adorable. So is Lilo. So. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, I think it is a good fun time at the movie. And we're gonna jump into it, but they definitely took some different directions. They went some different routes than the original that I think me and you don't really like as much. Not necessarily saying it was bad, but they really some of the decisions they made were just a little odd. It was almost the third act was like almost a completely different movie
yeah.
than the original. So. We can jump into that, but overall, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I wanted to go in this movie and I wanted like from the from the advertisement we got, Stitch looked really good. So I was hoping that Stitch looked really good in live action, and I thought they did a great job with Stitch. I thought he looked and sounded awesome. Now I know it's the same person that's voiced Stitch, which awesome, great choice. Stitch was hilarious. I laughed out loud 3 or 4 times from Stitch alone. I thought he was hilarious. Lilo, the girl that plays Lilo, I know her last name's Kealoha. I forget her first name.
Maya?
Yeah. She was awesome as Lilo. She was lovable. She was adorable. She was great. And Nani as well. I thought that their chemistry as sisters, I thought was there. I thought that this movie, that sometimes the live actions don't get. I thought this movie was still full of heart. I thought there was, emotion there. Lion King, like you said, we did not get that. Dumbo was not there. And we still get it like Aladdin was there. It was full of character and emotion. I still really enjoyed the live action Beauty and the Beast. I think that one still has a lot of character as well. This one did have heart, did have character from even David and Billy Magnuson as Pleakley. We'll get into Jumba in a minute. But overall, though, I thought that there was a lot of heart in this movie, and I wanted that from a live action because sometimes you can't translate that into the live action. But I thought this one had it. Like I said, Stitch was great. He was hilarious. Uh, and Lilo was great. Them together, just really adorable. I really did enjoy it. Um, to the bad, and I know you agree with me on one thing, is that Jumba being the villain instead of Gantu, or if you don't know his name, kind of the shark-looking bad guy, almost looks like an orca. Him not being in this movie and having Jumba be the villain in this movie, not a good change in my opinion. Jumba is supposed to be a redeemable character, going from he only cares about capturing Stitch to realizing that Stitch is more than just a science experiment, and him being like, oh, this is a creature that has a heart, that has a brain. Yes, he's very smart and can be destructive, but he really does like love Lilo and Nani and being a part of a family. And Jumba having that in like the original kind of makes him redeemable. And this one, he's the villain. And it's kind of odd in this movie because he's trying to capture him, and of course, like Pleakley is like watching over him, and now you kind of just take away that Jumba and Pleakley don't have a friendship, and again, that's from the first movie, and they're all one big Ohana, and we don't get that in this movie. Jumba is not redeemable at all. He is kind of portrayed as just like a scientist, a mad scientist that doesn't really care about his creature at all. He just wants to make Stitch a heartless 627, for lack of a better word. I don't like that as a creative choice. I don't really understand why they did that. I know you kind of agree with me on that. The other thing that I had an issue with was Jumba in the original. I think what makes him a good character, and not makes him a good character, but I kind of he's actually in the movie, him and Pleakley, but in this one, um, we see them a lot as Billy Magnuson and Zach Galifianakis, which I kind of odd. I know they do have the disguises in the first one, so like I'm not, I know that there needs to be a disguise or aliens, but we don't get them as a duo, and I don't know if Zach Galifianakis as being like Jumba. I have a very vivid image of like what he looks like because of his accent and his thick accent, but he doesn't have it in this movie. It's just Zach Galifianakis, and it just sounds odd to me. It sounds off. Now, whether that's good or bad for some people, that's like your own opinion. I just remember Jumba sounding, how he sounded in the original with a little bit of an accent. And him being Zach Galifianakis in this movie kind of threw me off, and it kind of took me out of Jumba's character, kind of for the whole part of the movie. Again, that might be a little nitpick, but it's something I noticed and something that I didn't enjoy as much. And Jumba as a character in this movie just sucks compared to the original. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean, even like the sequel movies, and the Disney TV show, like they're in it, and Jimbo's like, you know, friends with them and everything. So yeah, having that just completely changed. I agree. I don't think Galifianakis was just necessarily the best pick for this. I don't think he gave a bad performance. Like you said, he just didn't have that voice. All I could hear was just Zach Galifianakis. I thought Billy Magnuson as Pleakley was great though. He was very,
Yes,
very funny.
yes,
Um, but the CG for both of them, like when they were actually their alien selves, I thought looked great. Um, but yeah, no, I agree. Not having Captain Gantu as the main villain and just making it Jumba, I don't really know why they did that. I don't like that either because, like you said, like you kind of get like a bromance, friendship kind of vibe from the original with Pleakley and Jumba, and that's just like taken away here. Um, so when actually last night before I went to bed, I rewatched the original because I hadn't seen it
nice.
in so long. Um, and I mean, really everything up until like the last 20 minutes is almost exactly the same, but then that last like 20, 25 minutes was very, very different because you don't have any Gantu. Jumba's going crazy and kidnapped him and all this stuff. But yeah, I don't quite understand that choice. I understand you want to make it your own thing, make it a little different than the original, but I just
Yeah,
don't think that was the best decision here, especially, for people that grew up on it like us.
right.
For new kids and stuff, they don't care. They're gonna love it.
Yeah,
But like that being one of my favorite Disney movies growing up, yeah, I didn't absolutely love that choice. But um, besides like the last like 20 minutes, um, almost everything else in this movie was a ton of fun, very enjoyable, very cute. Really, really like good CGI with the space stuff and with Stitch. Um, and yeah, dude, I felt like I was in Hawaii, like it was just a good, immersive experience. The whole scene of them surfing was just as adorable,
yeah,
sweet as in the first one. Um, yeah, and then I see a lot of people on Twitter have been hating on the fact that Nani went to college. That was a different route that they went with this one compared to the original. Obviously, the original, they're still like dealing with social services and trying to like prove that she's a good fit to take care of her, to take care of Lilo. And ends up like, everything being okay in the first one. And they were still dealing with that in the new one. But then at the same time, Nani's trying to decide if she wants to go to college or not. And I saw so many people on Twitter just dissing the fact that Nani went to college. I don't think that was necessarily a bad choice. It's different, yeah, but like it still ends very happily. You don't, I wasn't like upset. They were still FaceTiming, and then she's got the portal gun, and she was literally able to go visit her like whenever she wants. Um, I didn't really have an issue with it. Did you?
It was like such a at the end, it was such a small part, I think, of the movie that it kind of just can get overshadowed. So it wasn't one that until you just brought it up that I didn't even think about. So that kind of shows you like they got their happy ending, and I thought they used to have like, okay, she has a portal gun that she can literally use to just be there whenever she wants, which she does. Um, so I thought that was, okay. If you hate on that, personally, it didn't bother me at all because
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it. So,
Yeah, I just seen a lot of people on Twitter like really hated that decision, but um obviously you got the introduction of the new character like the old woman that was their neighbor. I think
mhm.
she was related to David.
But
Did
yeah,
you
yeah,
hear those sirens?
no,
Dude, there's so many sirens outside right now. But yeah, no, that woman, I don't know if she was like David's grandma or something, but she's
yeah,
not in the original. So that was a new character. But I mean, everything ended up ending happily. Really, my biggest con with this movie is the Jumba stuff, the villain stuff. I would have much rather seen Captain Gantu. Even if you do him like you do Galifianakis and Magnuson, like you have like him, transform into a human or whatever. Like I think you could still make it work. But making Jumbo the villain was just, yeah, I did not love that choice, and it kind of took away from it a little bit for me. But other than that one choice, I think it was a lot of fun. It was absolutely adorable. It's what, it's just what Disney does great. They just d deliver these incredibly heartfelt, sweet stories. Um, and it was very nostalgic. Like I said, like it made me want to go home and watch the original last night. So yeah, I mean we can kind of jump into our ratings now. Ultimately, like this is a kids movie. It's a kids movie we grew up on, but I mean it is a new version of that movie. So obviously, I don't think either of us are going to say that it's better than the original because it is not. I would say the original is like a 4.5 or 5 star movie.
yeah,
Um, Absolutely love it. A little bit lower on this one, not because of uh any of the performances or the CGI or anything. It's really just because of the whole villain decision. So I settled at 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave this movie a 7.4,
okay,
just right off the rip. I gave Minecraft a 7.3. So I had more fun in this than Minecraft. I think it was just Minecraft was just like stupid funny.
yeah,
This one was funny, but also like super sweet and like had emotion and stuff,
yep.
which I, value in a kid's movie. Like if it's good and emotional and tugs at your heartstrings, that's a big plus, which it still did, despite the villain thing. So, yeah, number 14 on the year for me, or my bad, 13, sitting at a 7.4. What did you think?
Yeah, so I also think that if you let Jumba be the, redeemable character and you get Gantu as a villain, I think this is, right up there with the original just in live action. And it doesn't have to be scene for scene, man. We're not saying that. We just think that Jumba as a character is redeemable, and that's what makes it so good in the first one. And he gets part of the family, kind of, with Stitch and Nani and Lilo and all that. So that really does bug me because I was sitting there in the movie being like, why is he the bad guy? Like, why is this happening? Overall, though, I do think that there are some great moments from funny to heartfelt that you get, and I still personally enjoyed it. Like if you can still make me laugh, which I did multiple times, like I said, the original Stitch voice actor being Stitch again, and Stitch really is like one of my favorite characters in Disney because he's just an absolute, just like chaotic ball of energy. I love it. I love it. I still gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I'm a little bit lower on you though. I did not get to that 7 mark. I give it a 6.7, which is not bad. 6.7 is still good. But again, like I think the third act or the final act and Jumba just really kind of threw me off in the moment. And being like, I didn't come home and be like, oh, wait, Jumba wasn't the villain. Like I remember being in the theater and being like, why is Jumba the bad guy? This makes zero sense to me. I have it at number 14 on my list, and I have mine above a Minecraft movie as well. So mine's kind of stitched between, no pun intended, Den of Thieves 2 and a Minecraft movie. So that's where kind of mine is. But again, 6.7, 3.5 stars. Still lovable, still full of heart, but just some creative choices that me and you disagree with. And, that's fine. That's okay. Kids who have not seen the original will probably still enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and this movie is absolutely raking at the box office. I mean, I don't know if Minecraft's going to end up getting there, but this is definitely going to get there. I think it made like 55 million in its first day or
Oof.
something. Um, and like you said, or like I said earlier, like it's an extended weekend, so there's going to be a whole nother day.
My
Um,
uh my theater was packed, man. My
yeah,
theater was
mine was too. Mine was completely full. And for Mission as well, Mission Impossible as well. So. Yeah, no, I would say for the most part, we both still enjoyed it, had fun with it. Definitely go check it out if you're a fan of the original. Um, some, some interesting creative choices. But outside of that, like for the most part, I would say like still 75% of it is just, beat for beat from the first movie because I watched it last night. Like up until the villain stuff, like at the last 20, 25 minutes, it's like the same exact movie,
yeah.
same lines and music and everything. So, but yeah, so that is Lilo and Stitch.